We're here today with Cole Prescott, Esports Director in Northwestern College. Cole, thank you so much for your time in adding value to international students.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ivan. It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to our call.
Great. And before we start talking about your esports program, can you give us a brief intro of how you got to be Esports Director?
Sure. Yeah. So it was kind of a right place, right time opportunity, to be honest. I was in my last semester as an undergrad student here at Northwestern College, and that's when they announced that they were starting the program. I had one semester left. So, I took my short opportunity as it was, competed for a semester on the Overwatch team. Loved my time in the program. And as I was getting ready to graduate, they asked if I'd be willing to take leadership of the program. So I worked part time for that first year while it was still kind of a minor sport here at the college. And then during that first year, I pitched them on taking it up a notch, leveling it up to a varsity program. They liked my proposal. They hired me full time, and then we became a varsity sport in 2020. So that's kind of my journey of getting plugged in as the director here.
That's great. And why did the administration or your influence? Why did you decide to make it like a varsity sports and not fall under another department?
Yeah.
What was the main objective?
Yeah, for me, it's one of those things where, esports, there's that competitive nature that just lines up so well with the structure of varsity traditional sports here at the college, and just in the US in general. So for me too, I wanted our students to have the recognition, right, of hey, they are competitors. We are esports athletes, right? This isn't just some casual club. This is a serious deal. So for us, that's why it was important for it to be under athletics, for it to be a varsity program, so that we had the same level of support and recognition, and getting to officially represent the college in our competitions as a varsity sport. Those were all important to us.
That's great. And as a varsity sports, can you tell us about how you guide students into physical activity and nutrition as well, apart from the
Yeah.
practice?
Yeah, so we loop in a component of physical training, right, with what we do, and that's one of the benefits we've had as well of being part of the athletic department as being a varsity sport, right? So 2 times a week, our teams go and do workouts with the athletic performance coaches over in the varsity gym. They design and create all of the workouts for our teams, specifically designed for us for esports, to meet our needs. That's been really great. As far as other performance things in our weekly team meetings, we'll do different kind of topical discussions or presentations about hey, how to care for yourself and prepare yourself outside the arena to perform well inside the arena.
That's great. And can you get us tell us a brief day to day of a student, be a coach
Yeah,
or a player or an analyst or any
yeah,
student position, like
yeah,
how they balance the academics with
yeah.
the esports program duties.
Yeah, absolutely. So balance and helping our students succeed in the classroom is something that's super important to us. Kind of the day to day, right? Most of our students, they have their classes either in the mornings and early afternoons, then come around, 3, 4 o'clock. We'll have practice or a team meeting depending on the day. Um, and possibly a team workout as well on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then in the evenings, if they didn't have a practice in the afternoon, we'll have practices then, or when competition season starts, matches. So typically you're looking at a couple hours of class a day, time to do homework during the day, and then a 1.5 to 2.5 hour esports commitment, whether it's practice, team meetings, VOD review, matches, things like that.
Great. And I, a lot of students ask us, do you also take students to LAN events?
Yeah.
What are you
So
thinking of?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So traveling to LAN events, in-person competition, it's something that now that we're kind of, a little bit more removed from COVID, more LAN events are starting to pop up a little bit. So our goal as a program is to get to at least 2 a year. I think this year we'll actually get to a little bit more than that. We have 2 already planned for the fall, and so I'm sure we'll find some more opportunities for this spring. So our Rocket League took second place at a LAN event this fall, which we were excited about. It's our highest finish to date. So yeah, LAN events always a highlight of what our students talk about and experience.
Yeah, that's great. And regarding like student positions within your program, what are other positions apart from the competitive and the coaching that you offer students for them to develop their skills?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we want our program to be an opportunity for students to grow, not just competitively, but in their professional aspirations as well, right? So for us, students who are interested in getting involved in, team management, in coaching, like you said, in social media and marketing, digital content creation, shoutcasting, broadcast production, right? Most of the traditional career paths that you think of, data analysts even, right? Just different opportunities that support and create the esports infrastructure beyond just being a competitive player or competitive coach. Yeah.
That's great. And those students, in the program, what we say is like an average, like an approximate average of those students that want to get into the esports industry and those students that are
Mhm.
just using the esports program to build their portfolio and skills.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Most of our students come in more of just the like, I'm coming to get my degree in a more traditional career path. But it's funny now that I've got a couple, a few seniors now who have been part of this team for 4 years. A few of them now as they're getting ready to graduate are starting to go, huh? I really enjoyed this time in esports. Maybe I do want to look into staying in the esports as a career path, and so we haven't had too many students yet coming in with those aspirations to come in and then exit into esports. But during their time here on campus, being involved with our program, I've started to see some of those lights come on, some of that shift happening, and like, hey, there's opportunities here from a career standpoint. Maybe that's something I want to do, especially with the growth of high school and collegiate esports here in the US. That
Mhm.
will continue to create a lot of career opportunities.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And what would happen, okay, in the case that a student, especially those freshmen that are struggling in handling academics
Mm,
and practice and competition, what would happen to those students that are falling below your GPA standards?
yeah,
What would you
yeah.
approach them?
Yeah, so that's another reason and just benefit, I suppose you could say, or burden, depending on your perspective, of being a varsity sport, right? You have to maintain a certain grade point average in order to be eligible to compete, right? So if you fall below the threshold, you are not eligible to participate in competitions. So academic success, like we said, is super important to us because that's for us, that's the main reason why students come here, right? Like esports is awesome. Competing and traveling and getting to do all the things we do as part of this program is great, but it is secondary to the education. And so for us, if students are struggling, ideally, like we address them and help them before they fall below that threshold. But if we see, some signs of struggle, we might hold them out of practice, before they're ineligible to help them get on track to stay eligible. We'll have academic meetings with them, help them get plugged in with tutors and academic support. So yeah, it's kind of a combination mixture of, there's the potential to be ineligible and
Mhm.
not get to compete, and also we try to prevent that from happening through academic accountability and support within our program.
That's great. And with scheduling classes
Yeah.
and practice, how do you make that happen? So everything's
Yeah.
aligned.
Yeah. So pretty typically most classes, are done by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we don't ever have practices that start before that. So our earliest practices start at 3:30 p.m. So there's a good half an hour break there to where you won't have schedule conflicts as far as class and esports goes with that. So there are some night classes. There's not many as far as classes that happen like later in the evening. We've only run into conflicts, I think, 2 times in the 5 years now that we've been operating, and each with just one student. So it's a rare occurrence because we don't have many night classes here that the schedules do line up pretty well.
Nice. And I'm just seeing at your esports merch, like it's pretty cool. Like, can you explain like what students get?
Yeah,
Here.
yeah, for sure. So, I mean, every student in the program will get a jersey, obviously, right, with our logo, kind of our style, and their gamer tag on the back. As far as like player gear, Students do receive a bit of apparel as far as like some t-shirt and a hoodie with kind of some of these designs on it. Maybe the N flag with esports or some of our other branding, like the wall. I guess you can't see the wall graphic in the camera here. You can see this one, but this isn't the one that goes on the shirts. It's kind of the full logo there. So yeah, students do get a bit of gear as far as being able to rep the team, rep the school as far as apparel goes. Yeah.
That's right. And can you talk a bit about the hardware that you guys have for the players to compete
Yeah,
in?
yeah. So right now, our space, we have 23 gaming PCs. Historically, we've bought HP Omen machines, and we recently started working with a company called Bytespeed, which is a more local company. They've been awesome to work with. Our program is partnered and sponsored by HyperX as well, so they provide headsets, mice, keyboards in our arena just to have available for the students to use. A lot of our players use their own gear, obviously, but all of our monitors, 144 hertz, kind of everything you need, right, to compete at a high level in your esport is here.
That's great. And the facilities, are they open during the day or
Yeah,
24/7? How
yeah.
does
So
that
not
work?
not quite 24/7. We try to strike a little bit of that balance, but 7 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. So for us, those are the hours that it's available. Our stance has kind of been, hey, like if you want to practice outside of our team practices, that's awesome. But if you want to stay up, into midnight in the early hours of the day, we want our players to be doing that with their teammates in the dorms, building that community, building those relationships, and just to kind of encourage good sleep. Our students, right, they have class the next day, they got to be able to train. So part of our training and equipping them is encouraging or ensuring that, hey, if you're staying up late, at least it's not because you're in the arena on our
Mhm.
watch, so to say. Yeah.
Perfect. How would you describe yourself as a director? Because that
Yeah.
says a lot about the program itself. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I would say, to me, I'm a very relational person, and my goal is equipping our students to grow. Right, the pillars of our program, the things that I'm most passionate about, are helping our students succeed academically, building a program where authentic relationships and connections and friendships can be built and developed. Because 4 years is a long time. Life happens. College can be stressful, and we want this program to be a place where students have an environment of success. And my goal personally is to be a component of that success. And then thirdly, right, that opportunity to grow both competitively, but also on a personal level and a professional level. So for me, I would describe myself in that way, just being driven towards those three pillars. Like I said, I'm a very relational person. I have high standards. I'm a very driven person. I want our teams to succeed, and I want our students to thrive. So that's kind of how I would describe myself as a director.
great. And what are you looking to implement? Like, let's say or the main three skills that you are trying to implement in students for when they graduate and go into the
Mm,
workforce. What are you
yeah,
looking for?
yeah. I think for me, the values that we want our students to walk out of is kind of four main things that we really talk about in our
Mhm.
program. One, that the students who are in our program and leave our program, that they're both selfless and that they are positive, right? There's just a lot of toxicity, negativity, selfishness within esports, and we want our students to be the opposite of that, right? We want them to be team-oriented players and team-oriented professionals, right? People who, when they are in the workforce, people enjoy their presence, right? People like working with them, and they see that they do great work. And that leads into that second piece, which is we want our students to value excellence, to understand that they have a lot of ability and giftings, and that it is worth their while to use those to the best of their ability, and to do excellent work, right? And not even like about getting excellent outcomes, but the effort that they put in, right? We want our students to, coming out of here, know that it is worthwhile and satisfying to give an excellent effort and to do a great job. Thirdly, we want our students to take ownership, right? To own their mistakes, own their wins, to be people who can be depended upon, to take responsibility. Those are three things for us that are super important. Yeah, and then empathy, right? Just that last piece, that fourth pillar for us. Students who, when they leave here, are better and more equipped to relate to people, to deal with tough situations, and to encourage teammates and coworkers.
That's great. And just to wrap this talk up, like when a student takes your skills and team experience and everything, okay, and you have the meeting with them to see if
Yeah.
they're good for your program, what is it that you're looking for?
Mm,
Like not competitive or like
yeah.
what is it that and how do you know that the student is going to be a good fit for your program?
Yeah. So for us, right, it's tied. Like I said, I hope they leave our program with some of those things. And for us, if we get an indication that they are bringing some of those values into our program, that's a good sign to us. So people who are coachable, right, who are humble enough to receive feedback, people who are driven, right, who want to succeed and be the best and
Mhm.
achieve at a high level, people who are willing to put in hard work and at the same time not just work hard but understand that they have more to grow and more to do is valuable to us. People who work well with others, right? Esports is at our school, it's a team sport, right? You are part of a team. You are not on an island, so you got to be able to work well with others. You got to be able to encourage, uplift, deal with conflict, deal with loss, right? Inevitably, at some point in your career as a player or a coach or just in your professional career, you will suffer a setback, you will lose. How can you bounce back from that? How can you handle that? So, those being a few key things for us that we look for. Another just more practical, pragmatic thing is, students who take academics seriously, right? Going back to some of that original stuff, if we get a sense that a student, is a great talent, very driven in their esports career, but really isn't invested in their career academically or in taking care of things in the classroom, we'll shy away from that person because Northwestern is a great school, but with a great school comes an academic challenge, and so we want students who aren't just motivated to succeed in esports, but in the classroom and academically as well.
That's very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, and for sure we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Ivan.